Recon Athlete Podcast is brought to you by Kreitz Market, The Social, and Focus Fit San Marcos. All right, Recon Athlete, episode number 71, Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, and Zach Lucetto on the line. Shout out to Snoop Daniel over there in the green room. Zach Lucetto, are you there? What? Hold on. Sorry. All right, now you're there, right?
You just had me on your phone like you were just going to talk to me while the podcast was going on?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I took you off. Yeah.
Rookie.
Yeah, bro. Why not? I just have like, you know, I knew you weren't gonna say anything, right? I knew you knew that the podcast had started. I knew you weren't gonna say anything. Were you?
Well, I know the open mics,
bro.
Hot mic, whatever it's called.
We always have hot mics on Recon Athlete. Paul Rodriguez, what's going on down in Lockhart, America? How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, man. I'm doing all right. It's just another day, man. I'm tired of being cooped up and ready to hit the streets, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
I mean, but y'all are in Lockhart, right?
Yeah, we can go out stuff, you know, but I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know about y'all, but I've been craving like a nice, like 14, 16 ounce prime ribeye, and we can't do that right now. And so that's kind of been, you know, something I'm looking forward to whenever, you know, we can go out and go to restaurants and, you know, not have first world problems.
All right, no, I feel you. That's what's up. All right, we're going to talk a little bit of Rob Gronkowski going to Tampa Bay. Of course, the NFL draft tomorrow, starting on Thursday night and continuing Friday. And, you know, Alex Cora and the Boston Red Sox in the news today as well. Of course, other topics as assigned. Now, I did give Paul Rodriguez my Hulu account login, and he binged McMillions. And he did it, was it yesterday, Paul?
I've been yesterday in 6 hours.
6 hours straight. And that was the homework from last Wednesday. Of course, you know, whenever Zach gives us homework, we're always late, especially me. I did finish it today. Zach, what are your quiz questions or test questions for us in McMillions?
All right, well, first, I just want to ask you guys what you thought about the documentary. Like, as a documentary, do you think it was well put together? Was it enjoyable to watch? What are your thoughts about in that terms of it?
Paul.
Personally, I think the story is kind of blah. It's whatever. It's, you know, if you're into the, you know, criminal element and investigations, great. The characters were average, and I think that it was just too long. It really should have been like, I think it should have been 3 hour-and-a-half episodes instead of 6 57-minute episodes. But I mean, if you look at the story and you look at, you know, the first episode and the first half of the second episode, and then the last two, I think it was okay. But I mean, it's white collar crime, it's fraud, it's something cool. I think maybe because that's just not my forte. It wasn't that big of a deal. But as far as like I think the editing, I think as far as like how it was put together, I think it was cool. I just think it was long.
All right. And personally, I thought it was, I mean, I got to agree with Paul that it could have been a little bit shorter. There was a lot of elements to it, though, that you had to get into because it was so intricate of a fraud case. Now, for all of our watchers and listeners that haven't heard about or know what we're talking about, McMillions is a documentary on HBO, and it's about the fraud that happened with the McDonald's Monopoly game and how pretty much for, I guess, maybe, I think it was like over 12 years of the game, the regular guy like myself, Zach, anybody that's watching right now, could not win this game because all of the big game pieces, the $1 million game pieces, were being stolen and given to people all in pretty much the same area. Right, Zach?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the only time they were out of the area is when they made them drive somewhere and win over there.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, Zach. I thought it was like in the last episodes where like they the journalists in that area were kind of kicking themselves because they didn't see this, as journalists. They didn't notice that like all of the same all of the game pieces for this Monopoly game that's supposed to be one in 250 million chance to win. They kept popping up in the same little area in the same like zip code. But I mean, back to your original question, Zach. I thought it was good. It could have been a little bit shorter. I was intrigued by it. I liked the head FBI agent Matthews. I thought he was an interesting character. I thought he was really cool. He was kind of the guy that really took something, ran with it, and made something out of it. His whole story was that he really wanted to be an undercover guy, and they kind of did that. With him and a couple other agents, and even got an employee that worked for McDonald's to go undercover as well. And I loved that whole aspect of it. There was a little bit of mafia in there too. There was the story was really interesting. Although I will, like I said, and like Paul said, it could have been a little bit shorter, maybe 3 or 4 episodes as opposed to 6.
So in terms of characters, I wanted to ask you. I mean, I guess you don't have to really answer, Paul, if you just thought it was a big old waste of time. But Chris,
it was.
What, like in terms of characters, were there people that you didn't like that person, or you did like that character? In terms of characters, what was your opinion?
I liked them. I liked Matthews. I liked Agent Matthews, of course, because he just had a lot of he had a lot of personality. He was really kind of getting out there. Really wanted to make something, out of this case, knew he had something and really made it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I really liked him. I kind of didn't like I forgot his first name, but the Hoover guy, the first one that they really went to go interview.
Oh, yeah.
He was the one in Florida. He was really just kind of, I don't know, just kind of creepy. I felt sorry for Gloria Brown, who was the lady in Florida, the African-American lady. She seemed like she got into something that was over her head and she just didn't want to be there. I didn't like the Dwight Baker character, not character, but the person, because at the end of this whole thing, like it seemed like the directors and they were trying to make the viewers feel sorry for that guy, and feel sorry for, some of the other characters, some of the other people that were involved in this fraud. And I was just like, man, I am not going to feel sorry for these people that committed fraud. Okay. Like, they were like, oh, well, our lives are ruined and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, I'm watching you, Mr. Baker, Dwight Baker, who committed fraud. I'm watching you being interviewed in your house, and your house looks pretty nice. So,
right, yep.
I'm not going to feel sorry for you. The other guys, I think it was George Chandler. He's got a ranch, they're interviewing him in his barn. So, I mean,
well, he must have been doing pretty well because he was just a normal guy who had $100,000 to give Dwight Baker.
I mean, like they had some of these people, it was kind of out of greed, I mean, not kind of, but it was out of greed, so, I mean, a lot of this, I didn't feel sorry for the guys because like there was a lot of them that had money and they just wanted more money. And then they tried to say that, oh, we didn't know that these pieces were stolen. I was like, really? Okay. Yeah. The guy never told you they were stolen, but if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I got a winning game piece for $1 million, I'll give you, you can have one, but you have to give me 100,000 cash. I'm sorry, but I mean, if you don't realize that is stolen, then I mean, you just fell off the turnip truck, I mean, you got no sense, no common sense, no street sense. So I'm not going to feel sorry for you, man. But I did like the documentary, and there were characters that you felt, kind of bad for. But overall it was just the story was good, but overall I didn't feel sorry for anybody that was involved in that case.
So in terms of the guy that ended up winning his appeal and being acquitted, the one who got the piece from Dwight Baker, so do you think he was innocent?
Paul, I'll let you take this one.
No, because he's just using semantics, and in a court of law, all you have to do is prove intent. And so the guy just said, I didn't know it was stolen, and because he wanted to get it off his chest so he could live with himself, he just said, he filed for an appeal, and he won his appeal because he said he didn't believe they were stolen. And so I'm sure whatever kind of legalese they had to prove, they proved it that he didn't know it was stolen, so he walked. But I mean, and I want to get back to like who I felt sorry for. The only people I felt sorry for was the Doolittle company who were printing these pieces because of so many people's greed. These people lost their jobs and they shut down that company. And now, if you weren't have seniority, you had no any kind of severance pay with that company. And so when they shut it down, these people had to go find a new trade or a new job. And, who knows what kind of hardship that put on them. They were the innocent people who were, kind of stuck out in this situation.
Mm-hmm. And then, so in terms of, I don't know if the word is like twist, but like big moments in the story, what really stuck out to you? Like what was something that made you like keep watching because you wanted to find out, or something that when it was revealed you were like shocked or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to give anything out though.
Man, spoiler alert!
Yeah, we gave a heads up.
Spoiler! I got this one.
All right, go ahead.
Ma Colombo snitching.
Yeah.
Ma Colombo said, "Y'all took my baby, and then y'all took my son, my grandson. So I'm gonna make sure that none of you mother truckers walk."
Yeah.
But I did think it was kind of funny at the end that the nephew turned out to be an employee for McDonald's. That was kind of funny at the end.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'd have to say that too.
See, we didn't give anything away. We just talked about characters. We didn't say we gave one big ending away, but if you watch till the end, you'll figure out how funny. You'll figure out why the nephew of one of the main characters works at McDonald's and how you find that funny.
Yeah, and
go ahead, Zach. That's the point of giving people 2 weeks heads up that we're going to watch the show is to be able to give spoilers at the end.
Yeah. So once again, for everybody that's joining the watch party, we're talking about McMillions. That's the documentary on HBO. It's actually free right now on Hulu because some stuff on HBO is free through Hulu if you're quarantining like everybody else right now, and and so that way you can check it out. I mean, we didn't give away too much. It's a 6-part documentary. It's about the McDonald's monopoly game and the fraud that was involved. And there was $24 million stolen over like a 12-year period. And it was pretty elaborate, the whole fraud case. So I got
a question for Zach.
Okay.
Zach, I wanted to ask you, since you talked about the twist, let me ask you this question. Do you genuinely believe if Ma Colombo doesn't snitch, they all get away with it? Yes or no? And why?
I think that would be saying that chick that went to the IRS about it, that truly wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Okay.
Do you think Dwight Clark's statement about the electrical company putting a box out there was the FBI doing surveillance?
No, I think that's him being paranoid because he's.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But I truly believe that if there wasn't a source or like a whatever that called in, or like a lead or whatever, that this thing probably still be going on today.
CI, they call the CI, confidential informant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have an informant, like they really wouldn't have known. I really believe that.
I agree with you on that, Zach. And I really do believe it's Ma Colombo, because Ma Colombo's a gangster grandma, like a mob grandma. And it's like if you disrespect the family, we've all watched these mobster movies. If you disrespect the family, the mob and the feds have ties back to, Capone and World War II, some could even say. And I think Ma Colombo made a call to, she was CI too. She made a call and she probably got a little bit of change on the back end and got to have some, revenge or vindication for her son who possibly could have been taken out.
And I think that's an interesting point, that like how it all ties back up to the mob, is because even the wife or whatever, she originally thought that it was Dad Colombo that was the informant. So like there were multiple people that thought it was some way someone in that Colombo family that told. And then as far as the grandma being the informant,
you got to call her Ma Colombo.
It really made sense for what she was trying to do.
Hell yeah.
She wanted the kids, so she knew if she snitched on this, she would send the mom to jail, back to jail, and the mom's family to jail as well. But I do want to ask Chris, whenever they finally explained how he was stealing the pieces,
yeah,
do you think that was a little bit of like anticlimactic?
No, well, not really. Just because, I mean, a lot of times in cases like this, or when if somebody's trying to steal something, it's actually probably a lot less elaborate than originally thought. I mean, I would say maybe Zach, maybe a little bit I was, because I was like, man, this must have been, in my head, I was like, man, this must have been some elaborate kind of scheme. But when they broke it down, it was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, all he had to do was, be by himself for a little while. And then where can he be by himself besides like a bathroom, So,
yep.
It was almost, it made total sense. I will say it was kind of anticlimactic, because I thought it was like, some kind of James Bond, ish going on. But
like dug a hole and put the pieces in it.
Yeah, he's like coming, like Mission Impossible style, coming in from the roof, hanging from the, from a rope or something, or,
cut someone's thumb off to gain access to the fingerprint.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. But nah, he was like, basically he was like, hey, I'm gonna go take a dump, and I'm gonna, and that's where he, switch out pieces.
You could say the biggest goat of the whole show was that lady that was supposed to not let him leave her side. Mm-hmm. That's the oldest trick in the book, is to be imprisoned and say, I got to go to the restroom, and then make a run for it.
Yeah. That's so pretty much all he did.
For her to be responsible for millions and millions of dollars in this briefcase, handcuffed to someone's arm, do you think it was really handcuffed to his arm like that?
Maybe. I mean,
for him, all he has to say is, I need to go to the restroom, and her be like, oh, okay.
If he took it with him to the restroom, then yes, I'm going to say, yeah, it was handcuffed to him. Because if it wasn't, then that lady is extra dumb. Because I would have been like, okay, well, leave the case here with me. If you're going to go to the restroom, obviously your hands are going to be, busy. So leave that case with me. So I'm going to assume that case was handcuffed to him.
Well, they should have unhandcuffed it and handcuffed it to her until he got back.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, man. Hindsight's always 20/20 when it comes to fraud cases. All right, are we done? We're 20 minutes into this episode 71. Are we good with McMillions, or you still got some more questions?
Well, I mean, yeah, it took 8 years for y'all to watch it. I better get my 20 minutes.
He's right. 8 years in millennial time is 2 weeks. It is true.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Before we started, Snoop said he wanted tonight's episode to be 3 hours, anyways. So, that's a good start.
Did Snoop watch any of the documentary?
Nah, man, Snoop doesn't really watch a whole lot of TV. He'll watch things with me, like if I have things on, he'll watch them. But you know how Snoop is. He's always working on stuff.
You had on McMillions for 6 hours. I
mean, not the whole time. Like Snoop wasn't here the whole. I watched some of it when he's doing because he's got Snoop's big time now, man. He's working for the Horn. He's doing producing show for Craig Way and doing Flex ATX, bro. I mean,
dropping a ton of content.
Dropping tons of content all over Flex ATX. I mean, he's big time, bro. He don't got time for us, bro.
All right. So my final question for both of y'all.
All right.
You're gonna give this documentary a letter grade, like a school grade, what would you give it?
I'm gonna go.
And I'm talking plus and minuses too.
Yeah. I'm gonna go B plus. Paul.
I'm gonna go C plus.
C plus. Oh, okay. What would you give it, Zach?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you. I'll probably give it an A minus.
A minus. Okay.
But I appreciate you guys watching it. Any of the listeners, if you guys watched it too, if you stole Chris's Hulu as well to watch it, I appreciate you watching along. And now we'll move on forward with our regular scheduled programming.
Well, before we do that, Zach, do you have another homework assignment as far as Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video goes? Are you gonna give it to us on Saturday?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll think about it and give it to you on Saturday.
All right, cool. All right. Recon Athlete, episode number 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Luceto on the line. Snoop Daniel over in the green room, hanging out with us. We talked to McMillions. B plus from me, C plus from you, Paul.
Yeah, C plus. Yes,
C plus from Paul, A minus from Zach. If you want to go check it out, that's on Hulu. McMillions. Check it out. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting documentary. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk some draft, of course. NFL draft coming on tomorrow night. Going to be, it's going to be fun, but it's not going to be the same. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I wanted to get to this Rob Gronkowski news. Rob Gronkowski coming out of retirement, being traded from the New England Patriots to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 4th-round draft pick. The Patriots giving up the 4th round, or getting also a 7th-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and Tampa Bay getting Rob Gronkowski and a 7th-round pick. Is that right, Paul? Yeah. Okay. All right. They've already pretty much, they've gone from, they haven't really gone a whole lot of difference with as far as the odds go for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they went from 8-1 to 7-1, I believe it was, in Vegas. But what are you thinking of this Rob Gronkowski to Tampa Bay? How does this change Tampa Bay Buccaneers? First, I'll go to Paul. Paul? Hello? Zach, are you there?
I think you should go to me instead.
Hello?
Paul, what do you...
Yeah, go to Zach.
Okay, Zach, go.
I don't think it really changes much. It gives him a reliable target, someone that's going to be underneath where he needs to be throwing the ball. But, you already have the future of the position in O.J. Howard, so I don't think it really makes sense. And I think you could kind of tell by what the Buccaneers gave up to get him, but it wasn't a huge acquisition. So I know Paul's going to come over and act like it's world changing and they're number one favorites to win because they got a guy that was out of football a year ago. So I don't think it's a huge acquisition. I think it's a great story. I think it's fun for those guys to be linking back up, but I don't think it's going to do too much to their potential.
Paul Rodriguez.
What a riveting take there, Zach. But let me tell you how things are really going to go down in Tampa Bay for the Buccaneers and the whole Florida Tampa community. This is monumental. This gives even more credibility that Tom Brady needs to groom the entire locker room, the entire franchise to become Super Bowl or bust. And you have to remember two things. Not only do they have O.J. Howard, but they have Brace, the other tight end, who's going to be the similar package that he played with in New England when Aaron Hernandez was there. They had a 3 tight end set. Rob Gronkowski is a fun guy, and I think Bill Belichick took the fun out of football for him. He was injured. He couldn't recover. That's why he retired. He didn't know where Tom was going to go. He said, what if Tom retires? I'm going to go do me. He lived his life. He was living his best life. And I think this was a expert situation that Tom Brady laid out. Who was Tom Brady hanging out with during the offseason, right after the Super Bowl? He was chilling with Julian Edelman because he wanted to let everybody know, where am I going to go? I'm going to keep things real low-key. Meanwhile, in the back, he was pulling a Bill Belichick and working things like a true puppeteer and telling Gronkowski, this is where I'm going. This is what I need you to do. This is when I need you to start training because I know Bill Belichick is going to think you're damaged goods, and we're going to get you on the cheap. We may even get another pick with you, and we're gonna send a cheap pick to get you out of New England. You come down to Tampa Bay. We get these guys up to speed, and there is nobody that's going to be able to cover Rob Gronkowski on third down and when he gets into the red zone, because that's when he's going to play. This isn't an acquisition to light up the scoreboard. This is an acquisition to move the chains and to groom the locker room to become a Super Bowl caliber entity that Tom Brady needs them to get in an expedient fashion. Bruce Arians is going to make sure these guys have carte blanche, can do what they want when they want. They're going to take the goods from Bill Belichick and they're going to put that in. They're going to instill that there in Tampa Bay. They're going to make sure everybody has the fun that they want to have, but they're going to be prepared to execute on Sunday because now it is Super Bowl or bust with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Zach, you have a rebuttal?
No, I think good job, Paul, agreeing with what everyone's saying in the news. But
that's not what everybody's saying.
I just have a hard time believing in players that take a year off like that.
Yeah.
I just think it's so hard, especially with the lack of camps we're gonna have because of all this stuff going on. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be tough for Gronkowski to really be a difference maker. And I mean, you're comparing schemes or offenses or scenarios to when Aaron Hernandez was in New England. That was 10 years ago. Tom Brady was 10 years younger than that. It's just a huge difference.
All right, that's fair enough. And for me personally, I would have to say the acquisition of Rob Gronkowski is a big story for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have to agree with the Sarge. He's on our Shadow Mountain. He's commenting on our watch party here. He says it'll help with ticket sales. I'm going to say I have to agree. It's definitely going to help with ticket sales. Everybody in that Tampa Bay area, if they allow fans to show up at some point this fall because of the coronavirus, will want to go see that. They want to see the Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski, no matter how old both of them are. They want to see that connection. But I have to give pause to it a little bit, just because. I mean, like Zach, you said it. I mean, O.J. Howard was the future of that position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I thought so as well. Now they have 3 tight ends that could start. They have O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, and don't forget about Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate is a great tight end as well. Now, what Tampa Bay should do is try to trade one of those other tight ends. Because there's really not any reason to keep all 3 of them really at this point. I know that at some point they were trying to shop O.J. Howard to the Redskins for Trent Williams, try to get some help on the offensive line. But, I don't know, and I don't see how they can run, or get enough playing time, get enough balls out there to give to Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, and Cameron Brate, if you could keep all 3 tight ends. Paul, what do you think about that?
Guys, I just identified that. So Gronkowski is probably not even going to start. He's going to be a third down option, and he's going to play in the red zone. That's where he's going to make his money, and he's going to be a security blanket for Tom Brady. He's going to know at what level he needs to be to move the chains, and I think he's going to be a big teacher. I think that's going to be his biggest role, is to groom those 2 guys in Howard and Brate. I don't think Gronkowski's come in here to take the tight end 1 spot from O.J. Howard. I really don't feel that's going to be the case. He's going to be an educator, and he's going to make sure that these guys do what they need to do to get in the classroom to make sure they're watching the right field. He's going to let his guys know in that locker room, Gronkowski, is what Tom needs, where he needs him to be, what Tom likes to see from his tight ends, what part of the field, the intricacies that you're not going to get from just talking to Tom. Gronkowski knows the ins and the outs, and he's going to give those secrets to these 2 high-end tight ends.
Zach?
I agree.
Okay. I was just trying to get you, give you a chance to say something, Zach, if you could, or if you wanted to. I mean, I see what you're saying, Paul. I do see what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from as far as Gronkowski, being the teacher and the leader and not just the tight ends. He'll be able to let everybody in that locker room know what the expectations of Tom Brady is. He will go out there and be able to relay what the Patriot, quote unquote, Patriot way is. Now, Gronkowski probably at the end of his career probably wasn't a huge fan of the Patriot way. I don't think a lot of players were. They understood that the Patriot way would help them win championships, but it's kind of a grueling way to live your life and to work, because it's football, 24/7. There's no time for anything else, which it should be if you're in the NFL, if you expect to win and win at the rate that the Patriots were doing. But yeah, I mean, I just don't. It's hard for me to grasp the concept of using a roster spot for a teacher, and you don't know. I mean, it's gonna. I don't know. To me, it's almost like you're just doing this.
Let it out, Chris.
You're just doing this. You're just doing this like I said, like the Sarge said. You're just doing this for ticket sales. You're doing this to get in the headlines, and ultimately you're doing this to appease Tom Brady. That's what you're doing if you're Bruce Arians, because you already said, if you're Bruce Arians, you already said, you know what, I'm not going to let you have Antonio Brown. Now Tom Brady comes back and says, hey, I want Rob Gronkowski. Okay, we can deal with Rob Gronkowski, because you don't want to. If you're Bruce Arians and you're trying to, manage your club, Tom Brady is the leader of your team. You want to keep him happy, right? So,
oh yeah,
I just feel like this was more of a political move for Bruce Arians. Yeah, it's gonna help OJ Howard and Cameron Brate, but I mean, like, having a great tight end, I mean, is that just like ultimately that win you Super Bowls? I mean, I've never really heard the adage of, tight ends win Super Bowls, right? So
the last game Gronkowski played in was the Super Bowl that they won.
Okay. All right.
So my point is that I think to me, the value in having a expensive security blanket to boost the mental comfort level for Tom Brady and being a teacher and also being a threat on probably 10 plays during the game, and out of those 10 plays, it could be one touchdown per game. I think that's extremely valuable, and I think that's worth the money that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers paid for Gronkowski.
Okay, fair enough. I will accept that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I think I'm more of in the boat of Zach right now, just because it's like both these guys are kind of old. I just don't know if this is going to put them over the edge and really make the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a Super Bowl winning team. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot more having to do with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and what those guys can do for Tom Brady. But we'll see. Well, hopefully we'll have a NFL season to be able to check out all our theories and all our hypotheses and see who was right. It's probably going to be me. All right, Recon Athlete, episode number 71. Chris Sanchez, Zach Luceto, Paul Rodriguez. Shout out to Snoop Daniel over in the green room there. Shout out. Make sure you check out Flex ATX on Friday nights from 7 to 9, right, to Snoop? 7 to 9? Yeah, 7 to 9. Paul Rodriguez, you're going to be on this Friday night?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know what time?
7:30. 5.
Okay. Zach, you going to be on?
I don't know. Whatever. If he needs me to be, I'll be. I'm not doing anything else.
Oh, you're not doing anything? You'll be chilling?
Yeah.
Yeah, word. All right, get to NFL draft here in a few minutes. But Paul, you wanted to mention Alex Cora. You said there was a lot in the news. I did read a little bit about it. What did you want to talk about Alex Cora and the Boston Red Sox as far as the news go?
This was just mainly aimed towards you and Zach, because I know that, baseball is a game that y'all follow a lot, and coming off of that Houston Astros, scandal, I just wanted to know from y'all, like, do you think that this suspension for this season for Alex Cora, do you think it was just and fair, or do you think it was a little bit of a reach for the Major League, for the Major League Baseball?
Zach, you want to go first?
I feel like you've been more knowledgeable about baseball
me
lately than me. So you go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so here's the deal. As a good friend of mine always says, here's the deal. Alex Cora was already fired, right? Back in January from the Red Sox. They basically, this is, to me, all they're doing is kind of, to me, it's almost like a slap on the wrist. I mean, what he did, and while in Houston, was a big deal. I'm a Houston Astros fan. I'm not a fan of Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran anymore because of what they did, and it's hard for me to be a fan of the Astros players that were involved. Still a fan of the organization, still a fan of the Houston Astros. Still going to root for them once Major League Baseball starts again. But I think there's now a scarlet letter for Alex Cora. I don't think any organization is going to want to touch Alex Cora. I don't think anything that he does in the future, people are going to really pay attention to. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to take 2 to 3, maybe 4, maybe even 4 to 5 years for people to kind of forget about. I mean, look at A-Rod, right? I mean, Alex Rodriguez, when he was busted doing the, doing the steroids and stuff, like it took a little while. I mean, he lied about it, and it was proven that he lied, and it took a little while, but look at him now. Him and J-Lo are trying to buy the Mets, and he's got a successful career doing commentating, baseball for ESPN. So it's going to take a while, but to me, it was almost kind of like a ho-hum story just as a baseball fan, just because I know that the aspect of what Alex Cora brought or is going to bring in the future it's not going to matter. Nobody's going to want to touch him. He's not going to be a factor in Major League Baseball for at least, I would say, 2 to 3 years, maybe even more. So, when I saw the story, I was like, okay. And then they kind of, were saying, oh, well, the Red Sox did cheat, but it was more of this video operator guy. It was his fault. Then the players weren't really involved. They only did it, when there was a guy on second base, and that only happened 19.7% of the time during the season, and it didn't happen in the postseason, this and that. And so it was almost like they were trying to let the Red Sox as an organization off. So that kind of didn't sit with me well as a Astros fan, because the way the Major League Baseball were kind of, presenting this was, oh, they did it, but they didn't do it as bad as the Astros did. I mean, it's like, no, they still cheated. So, as far as Alex Cora goes, like I said, scarlet letter. He's going to be a non-factor in Major League Baseball. He'll probably have to go, I would say, to either college level or AA minors when he does come back and work his way back up. Do I think that eventually he will be a Major League Baseball manager again? Yes, I do. I really do. Because you see what, like I said, you see what A-Rod did. If Alex Cora comes out in 2021, says, hey, I'm really sorry, I cheated, it was wrong, blah, 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 want to start over again, this is America. Everybody loves a comeback story. So I just think that Alex Cora, will see him once again in a Major League Baseball uniform as a manager. Thoughts? Paul or Zach?
That's great, man. I mean, I don't really know too much of the story. I just thought it was pretty. I thought for me, I thought a manager for baseball get suspended for a whole season. After enduring what they had gone through, I just thought it was pretty much of an overreach, just because you don't really hear like in football world, Bill Belichick getting caught cheating, and they get a fine. They don't get suspended for the whole season. So I understand baseball is a longer, I guess, time frame for games compared to the shorter time for football, but I still think it's, like you said, a scarlet letter that people really don't want to touch. And I don't know. To me, I just thought it was an overreach for, I think the organization for Major League Baseball to say, hey, we're taking you out because of what you did, and you can't be here for a whole season. And I just think, I don't know. It's like, where's the due process in it? I don't really know the intricacies of the incident, but I mean, if it was proven that he cheated, and I mean, if he was contrite in his apology, then if he paid a fine, and this just seems like the punishment was handed out way after the punishment was handed down. Or am I wrong on that?
No, well, I mean, they conducted their investigation into the Boston Red Sox after they finished the Astros thing, so I guess they could only do one at a time. And so the Boston investigation was just finished up, and they, like I said, the way they outlined it out, it was kind of like, yeah, the Red Sox cheated. They did use video to steal signs, but they didn't do it as bad as the Astros did. So that's kind of how they outlined it. And I mean, like I said, Cora is already pretty much out of Major League Baseball because of it. So I mean, I thought this was just to kind of save face. They were as Major League Baseball as an organization overall. I think it was just kind of a save face type of move. Don't really think it's going to affect Cora's career more than the whole scandal has already. The suspension in itself. So I kind of saw it, and I was just like, as a baseball fan, I was kind of like, yeah, all right, that makes sense. So it was kind of a ho hum thing for me, Paul.
All right,
Zach.
And I think they have to. I think you're seeing Alex Cora in the news more than the Red Sox organization as a whole, because I think the Astros being kind of scapegoated for all of this and being all over the news and stuff like that. Like, I think that is good for the sport, where it's the notoriety and people think that now the Astros are caught cheating, maybe it'll make the game fair again. But if it's multiple organizations being caught cheating, then that's just a black eye on the league.
Right.
And it's taking away from the product, I think. So I think they're right to kind of keep him in the news as opposed to the organization. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Recon Athlete, episode number 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucetto on the line. Shout out to Snoop Daniel over in the green room. All right, fellas, tomorrow, Thursday night, we're going to start the 2020 NFL draft. All the teams are doing it from home, or I don't know what it's going to be like. It's going to be interesting. There's not going to be, of course, the big fanfare that it usually is. And you know what? For me, the thing that I'm going to miss the most about having, everybody in the same place for the draft is the booing of Roger Goodell. Right?
Yep.
Right? I mean, like, whenever Roger Goodell, especially when he comes out, that's the commissioner of the NFL, whenever he comes out, and it reminded me earlier because they've been showing on ESPN, ESPN2, round ones of different drafts in the past 10 years or so. And, they just, every time Roger Goodell comes out, the whole crowd boos. And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss the whole booing of the commissioner because it's hilarious. And I did find this, though. I don't know if you guys knew this. Let's see, there is a promotion going on with Bud Light, and you can video yourself booing Roger Goodell. And hold on, my computer's not. Come on. You can video yourself booing Roger Goodell and basically tweet it to Bud Light And for every tweet that they get, every video that they get, they're going to make a donation to, I think it's either American Red Cross or United Way or something like that. So there is a way to boo Roger Goodell. You can do it via Twitter, and you can, I think it's, I'm going to try to find the hashtag if I can here. Let's see. I'll try to, boo the commish. Hashtag boo the commish. If you go to Twitter at Bud Light, video yourself booing the commish, hashtag boo the commish. They'll give $1 donated to, like I said, one of the 6 organizations that they have and I think it's going to be up to $500,000. So they're looking for 500,000 videos of us booing the commissioner. So shout out to Bud Light. I'm going to miss the drafting or the booing of Roger Goodell live. But you know, it is what it is. Zach Lucetto, what are you going to miss the most about the draft? Or you think it's going to be just fine how they're going to do it remotely?
It's going to be so terrible to watch. It's going to be so terrible to watch. But I'm going to miss the outfit, like the suit, seeing what people style come, like what they decide to come out in and stuff. That's always exciting to me.
The drip, is that what the kids
yep.
call it? So,
yep, or as you would call it, the swag.
So Zach, you're gonna miss that. So all right, do you think? I mean, if they're gonna, I mean, they can do this on Zoom and whatever. I don't know. They can do it. They can have webcams in these players' houses. Do you think the players will get dressed up at home, Zach?
If they do, it's gonna look dumb. It's all dumb. It's gonna look so dumb. It's gonna be so terrible to watch.
Paul Rodriguez.
It would almost be more fun to just keep up with it on social media.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
It should just be done via Twitter.
Just see the pic. Yeah.
Just via Twitter, Facebook Watch, or Instagram Live, something like that, right?
I don't want to. If we're not getting the full presentation, I just want to know who's getting picked.
That's fair. Yeah. If you're not getting the whole production, yeah, you just want to know what the picks are. Paul Rodriguez, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm 100% in the boat with y'all. And that's what I'm going to be missing the most is the pageantry, the interviews on them walking the red carpet. Seeing who's going to be the celebrity picker, who's going to be coming out. When them all walking onto the stage, taking the photo before the draft begins. Honoring the military before the draft ends. Those types of things are fun, and it kind of, it is. It's like Zach said, it's the production, and so all that pageantry. When you miss it, it kind of just seems like you're getting like a fantasy draft, like you do with your buddies. I mean, that's kind of really what this is happening, or that's kind of what this is really going to be done for all the fans, and it's kind of like. I don't know. It's going to be real bland, and you guys just don't really feel like this is a professional production.
Yeah. But what's really going to suck is that they're still going to try to do that.
Yep.
In some way, they're going to try, and they're going to think that it's just as good or along the same lines, but it's not. It's going to look bad.
Yeah.
You want to know what I'm really looking for?
Yeah. No,
I'm really looking forward. I really want to see if this thing just crashes and burns on the IT side, to where picks can't come in, the screen falls and just like goes black, or if we can have it like 1980 style where the screen goes snowy. I know a lot of you millennials may not know what that is, or you Gen Zers, you may not know what a snowy signal is. But that's what we used to have to wait to do whenever we're playing, Nintendo in our 1986, NES. But if this thing crashes and burns, it will be the negative PR will probably be bigger than what if this thing goes off without a hitch, in my opinion. So it's great if it goes off unscathed, but it'll be huge PR for the NFL. And Chris, I know you know this well. Bad PR, good PR, it's still PR. So, good on the NFL's end. But I don't know if did y'all hear they tried to do a dress rehearsal on Monday? They couldn't even get the first pick in, man.
Really?
Cincinnati Bengals couldn't even get the first pick sent to the commissioner to make the selection.
I mean, how hard is
it? What I want to know is, like, what if I'm on the clock and then I don't know who to pick and then my time is up? I would just be like, my internet's down.
No, he goes to the next team.
Lagging.
But I see what you're saying. Lagging. And that's the issue. The issue is the broadband, because they're doing these selections from probably the GM or the coach's house.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't go to the facility. Like, why don't you go to your facility and do the draft there? That would make most sense. But, like they showed John Lynch's office at his home. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're trying to show like they're everybody's social distancing still, but yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, go to the facility, keep your social distance from everybody. I'm sure that they've got conference rooms and, media rooms that are big enough to where you can have 6 feet, 6, 10, 15, 20 feet, 50 feet in between people. So you at least have, the resources that you need, in a facility to make sure that this goes off without a hitch, because, I mean, you never know. What if one of the coaches is super cheap and doesn't have the right type of, broadband? It doesn't have the right type of internet, and then everything gets messed up, and then things start like lagging, and then they can't figure out what's happening, and somebody's pick gets skipped. And then like you said, Paul, it crashes and burns. It's going to be either way, even if it does crash and burn, Paul, I think you're right. Good PR, bad PR, it doesn't matter. PR is PR. I do want to see how they do this. I think there's got to be a contingency plan if you're the NFL. Maybe get on the phone, conference call, do it old school style, and make sure that you're able to get this thing done in real time, because if you get that clock rolling, you can't be pausing it like you're doing a fantasy draft and say, hey, I don't know who I want to pick yet. Can you pause it, commish? No, that's not going to happen. So I think NFL has to have a contingency plan for, something major to happen to where they can't do things via the internet. With that said, where do I go from this? Where I go now? How do I make this transition into the actual draft? Unless, Zach, you got anything else?
I think they should just auto draft. Best available.
Do auto draft. Okay. Yeah. Or like,
hey, I've gotten pretty close to winning fantasy auto drafting, so maybe they should think about it.
Or what you do is you rate your players if you're the teams. You like, this is who I want. This is next. This guy. This guy. This guy. This guy. You have a list of like 100 players. Rank them all. Put them in the queue, and let the system do it. Put it on if you're, whoever's doing it, whoever's carrying it. I guess it's ESPN. You should do it. You should do it. ESPN. They should have the screen be like a fantasy football screen.
Ooh, what if the broadcast to the teams got blacked out on ESPN, and ESPN only showed the queue of all the teams to people who are not in the NFL? That would never happen. It's too hard. But what if we, the fans, could see the queue, but the teams couldn't, and we watched the draft that way? I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Zach, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm like, I didn't even remember. I didn't even remember the draft was tomorrow until yesterday.
Jeez.
Like, it's just not even, I feel like they should just wait and do it when it's all over.
It's not on your radar.
You need that much hype?
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
Yeah. Man, we need hype, bro. We need it to drip. You know what I'm saying? We need it to be, as kids would say 5 years ago, Liddy. I mean, it's just not. It's just not compelling right now. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not compelling as an NFL fan. I mean, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, but I mean, what's it going to be like? What's the presentation going to be like? What's the production going to be like? I mean, is it going to be anything like the NBA 2K stuff where people are just going to be, on webcams and talking to each other. I mean, it was kind of boring like that,
I mean, that is what it's going to be, though.
It's just boring, dude. It's just like, man, come on, man. Like, I need some noise. I need some crowd noise. I mean, like, just give me something. Give me some horns. Do something. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's going to be fun, like, to see who's picked, who goes where, if there's any trades, but not excited about the production value. All right, well, let's just get into the draft itself and the couple of things that we put out there, because I think the wide receivers, I think we talked about that. We've talked about the wide receivers in this draft, and just how deep it is as far as this draft class goes. From what I've seen, and then, mock drafts have been happening for, at least 10 a day for the last, I don't know, 6 months, well, that's 6 months, but, since the national championship game ended back in January, everything that I've seen shows that the Raiders will probably be the one to take the first wide receiver, or the San Francisco 49ers in the very next pick. Basically, from what I've seen, it's either been CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, or Henry Ruggs. Out of those three, Paul or Zach, whoever wants to take this, who do you think that will go first?
Zach goes first.
Zach, who goes first?
What did you say, Chris? Paul interrupted.
Is it
right.
Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, or Henry Ruggs?
I think Jerry Jeudy is. See, I feel like you have a long track. You have a track record of talented number one guys coming out of Alabama. Jerry Jeudy's done it for so long there. He's so prototypical when it comes to what you're looking for in a receiver now. I think he's got to be the number one guy to go.
Paul Rodriguez.
I think Zach is spot on with Jerry Jeudy, but I don't think it's the Browns at 10. I think that the AFC West has a Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's an arms race. And I think you're right with the Oakland Raiders also picking up probably CeeDee Lamb after that. But I think a trade happens around 10 or 11, and the Denver Broncos, to pair up with Courtland Sutton and Drew Lock and Lindsey in the backfield, they go get Jerry Jeudy from Alabama, because it is going to be a race for weapons in that division. And I think that's the best thing that John Elway would probably make in his decision-making as a GM, if the deal can get done. And if the deal gets done, that's a huge pairing with Courtland Sutton and the familiarity that they had with him and Drew Lock had this past season. So if it gets done, I think that would be humongous for the Denver Broncos. But Jerry Jeudy is going off number one for sure over this season.
Okay. All right. I mean, and so Jerry Jeudy, that's 2 for Jerry Jeudy. Right, Zach? You said Jerry Jeudy, right?
Right.
Me personally, I mean, maybe I didn't watch enough Alabama this year, but what I did see a lot of was, being a Longhorns fan, I saw a lot of Big 12 football. I saw a lot of CeeDee Lamb, and I'm just, I just really think that what he brings to the table is electrifying and a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? I think he is going to be a guy that can be definitely a number one top wide receiver. And I think, go ahead, Zach.
Chris, I think Henry Ruggs' combine is going to turn one of these big name receivers, whether it be CeeDee Lamb, Chenault from Colorado, any of these guys, into a steal in the draft.
Okay.
Because Henry Ruggs is taking the spot of someone who probably deserves it a little bit more than he does.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. So
it wouldn't super surprise me if a guy like CeeDee Lamb slipped a lot further than people are projecting him.
Really? I'm just a big CeeDee Lamb fan. I saw enough of him. I'm a big eye test guy. Now, don't get me wrong, Ruggs and Jeudy, both just great athletes. Ruggs, at 5'11", Jeudy at 6'1", Lamb at 6'2". They're all kind of in the same area. Of course, Ruggs is a little bit shorter than the other two guys, but I just think, CeeDee Lamb's, for me, he's got that star power, man. I just really think he's got that star power that he can go out there and just really change a game and be a guy that can be a top wide receiver in the NFL. So I think Lamb's going to be number one but I don't think out of those three, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, I really don't. I don't think you can go wrong at all.
We're not going to mention T. Higgins at all. I mean, we're just going to totally ignore that he went up against Ohio State's DBs.
I mean, yeah. I mean, do you want to put T. Higgins in there and say that he might go in the top 15, top 20?
There's a lot of people like Justin Jefferson, Laviska Shenault, Jalen Reagor, dude from Penn State, KJ Hamler, dude from Arizona State,
Michael Pittman from USC,
Mims from Baylor, T. Higgins, like
KJ Hamler.
I think a lot of these guys. I think you had it right, Chris, when you named those three guys as the number one receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all of these guys have that kind of, they're interchangeable almost when it comes to just what that team at that spot is looking for.
So, okay. So let's go maybe kind of the opposite way of this. With the depth of wide receiver, I mean, getting Lamb or Ruggs or Judy or even Higgins, if wide receiver isn't maybe your second or third need, and you're a team that comes up there and one of those guys is still there, do you reach? Now, I wouldn't consider any of those three guys a reach, but let's say there's somebody, you need an offensive lineman first, or you need a cornerback first, and there's a guy that slips. You got to go with what you're needing first because of the depth of wide receiver, and then you maybe slip over a T. Higgins or a Jalen Reagor. I mean, does that make sense to you guys, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does, but I think because of those top three, we'll just stick with Judy, Lamb, and the other receiver at Alabama, Ruggs. I think that it's going to be a bam, bam, bam kind of run. It's going to be like three in that top 10, late top 10, top teams, like 11, 12. I mean, we're just really looking at it, and it all really depends if the Broncos jump or not, because I mean they're picking at number 15, and so if they move up to get Judy at 10, then yeah, that's fine. There'll probably be a run quick, but if they wait, it's going to probably be the Raiders picking Jerry Judy or CeeDee Lamb, and then it's going to be a run. But if you need offensive linemen, I think personally you should pick that as a safer bet rather than one of these explosive targets, because you need to make sure that you can protect your quarterback. And if you have someone, especially at this high a level, if you're picking this high, you got to ensure that your franchise player is taking care of them and safe.
All right. So wide receiver, we got 2 for Jerry Judy, 1 for CeeDee Lamb as the first wide receiver to come off the board. Wide receiver is very deep, so it's going to be it'll be fun once NFL starts playing again to watch all these rookie wide receivers make their debuts. All right, Recon Athlete episode 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucetto. Shout out to Snoop Daniel over in the green room. All right, Tua Tagovailoa. Now, we've talked a lot about this over the past few months. We've talked about the quarterback depth as well. I think everybody's fully expecting, and nobody's going to be surprised. People will be surprised if the Cincinnati Bengals don't pick Joe Burrow. But then the question is going to be, to me, does Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm guessing, just looking at things that is happening, Miami, if they don't pick Tua, then he drops out of the top 10. I kind of put that out there, like, does Tua drop out of the top 10? And then I look at it again, I'm like, okay, well, basically if, the Dolphins don't pick Tua, then he drops out of the top 10. I don't see a reason why the Dolphins wouldn't go with Tua. So I fully expect him to be picked at number 5. Is there any reason for the Dolphins to pick anybody else? Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, because I think he's a bigger product. And as far as bigger, I just mean he's 6'4". And I think he doesn't have the injury history that Tua does. And I'm gonna disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Tua falls past 6,
Okay.
if he falls past the Chargers, I think you start seeing a lot of people start calling the Raiders. I think you have people start calling San Francisco with that early pick. And so I just really don't know if he gets past 10. I mean, I think you can see some big moves to go get Tua. But I think he locks up at 6. If he falls past Miami, I think the Chargers with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback, I think they have to pick Tua because there's just too much value. But if he falls past 6, Patriots, Dallas Cowboys, I could totally see those two teams giving away their first-round pick and their third-round pick and maybe a second in 2021 to go get Tua.
Okay. Zach Luceto.
So going back to the wide receiver thing first.
Sure.
I think, Chris, you're going to see, because there's so many really big names in wide receiver in this draft, I think you're going to see a lot of teams that don't need wide receivers pick wide receivers just to get some of these best available type guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be exciting for the league because I think you're going to see a lot deeper receiver cores because of that. And as far as Tua, I think if the Dolphins don't pick Tua, it's because they didn't get a chance to check him out injury-wise with their doctors, and because there's a guy like Herbert just kind of waiting, like next up type thing. Because you have a guy like that there to take, if you don't take him, I think that's why they skip over him. And I think if he does slip, it's going to turn into one of those, well, what do they know that we don't know type things, and you could see him really slip because of that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it could be like a Aaron Rodgers kind of situation.
Yeah.
Paul, what do you think of the viability of that I guess scenario of if people don't, if GMs and owners are, I guess, hesitant about the injury situation?
Because if everyone is expecting the Dolphins to take him and they don't take him, then that next person who's picking that needs a quarterback is like, well, wait, why didn't the Dolphins take him? What is so much better about Herbert than Tua, who everyone thought they were going to pick? And then that just kind of, especially with the lack of research being able to do it to these people, and you don't even know how you're going to turn your picks in. I could see that turning into a big slide for him.
Paul?
I think we're focusing on the negative for Tua rather than the positive,
okay.
and him causing the slip. And I think what really we need to take into consideration is he's been cleared to play by independent doctors, and he's been working with Trent Dilfer and leaking out his workouts, leaking out what he can do, leaking out footage. And a lot of times coaches want to see what a player looks like in person. That's great. But the next best thing is they want to be able to see how he moves on video. And that's what coaches study all day long, and scouts do as well, is if they like the way he looks in drills, with that information compiled with what he was, I understand it was before the season started, him being the lock at number one, going through the season and having the injuries, I think is going to cause him to slip. But why I think people are going to hold value with Tua is his ability to read defenses, his ability to compute an offense in a high-level situation coming from Alabama with a stringent coach, having expectations of championships, knowing that you have to perform under pressure and also while you're injured. So with all of that information compiled, I think him slipping, if he does slip past 6, and let's say it's Herbert at 5 and then it's Jordan Love at 6, people are going to look at all of that, the positive compared to the cons, or the pros compared to the cons, and they're going to start trading draft capital to go get him because they understand what a quarterback can do. And I understand hindsight's 2020, but I think with the caliber of Tua and him playing hurt playing under pressure, playing in a high elite environment at Alabama, will want a team who is desperate for a quarterback to give up that capital and go get him. But he will not. He will not get past 15. Salute.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Well, you know what?
Go ahead, Zach.
Real quick. Paul said that he's been training with Trent Dilfer. I don't really put any stock into that because you know who else trained with Trent Dilfer is Hunter Johnson, and I thought that guy was going to be really good at Northwestern, and he didn't even play last year. So that's what I have to say about that.
And that's because Hunter Johnson was a freshman going to be a sophomore, or a high school player to be a freshman in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, so we're talking about an individual who played 3 years, won a national championship, competed for 2 national championships, and before he probably shouldn't have been playing in a game at the end of the year, near the end of the year, got a season-ending injury. And I think that's what the difference between the quarterback at Northwestern and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, one's healthy and one's not. You're right. Big difference.
And one's going to be drafted in the first round, and one may not get out of the University or Northwestern University.
Dang, you're a bigger hater on Hunter Johnson than I am. He's elite, Paul.
I just follow suit, baby. I follow the leader, man. That's where you are. I follow the leader.
All right, so we're talking about Tua at maybe going at 5, not at 6, to the Chargers. Now, I'm looking at the draft order, and another team that needs a quarterback, in my opinion, is the Carolina Panthers. I mean, would y'all agree with that?
Teddy B, you not sold?
I mean, not really. I'm not.
Ooh,
not sold on Teddy Bridgewater. Zach, are you sold on Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
Hello,
Zach.
Oh, I thought you were asking me or Paul.
Yeah, I was asking you, Zach.
No, I think it's going to be Will Greer.
out of West Virginia.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm not. I guess I'm not sold on it. Although Carolina, from what I've seen, and even I think they even did a former players poll for the Carolina Panthers. They were all excited about linebacker or defensive lineman. So they were all saying Isaiah Simmons or Derek Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the answer for the Carolina Panthers. I guess I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater, man. I'm just not.
Remember, him and Joe Brady have a little bit of familiarity with each other when they were in New Orleans, so that's one thing to think about.
I mean, I guess, dude. But I mean, if you have a chance, if you're the Carolina Panthers to pick up somebody that's going to be a franchise quarterback, I just don't see Teddy B as a franchise quarterback. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm missing something. Am I missing something here, Paul? Tell me. I'm missing something.
He had some injury issues when he was in Minnesota. But whenever he had a backup Hall of Famer to be Drew Brees, and y'all were sold on him against Dallas in the middle of last season, y'all were really high on Teddy Bridgewater.
I wasn't.
And so you weren't?
No.
Okay, that's I wasn't the vibe I was feeling, but okay.
I've never been a Teddy Bridgewater fan. Never, ever.
Okay. But with that being said, I think Teddy Bridgewater has a comfort level to perform with Joe Brady, and I think it's just based off familiarity. I think that Matt Rule is going to want to increase and boost his defense, but I really think also they may entertain the potential trades if people want to come up to get a guy like Tua.
Yeah, I just think that if they could probably entertain that, but I think Carolina, if you're sitting there and you have a chance to get Simmons or Derek Brown, I guess they're probably going to try to go with defense, and I just Derek Brown is. The guy's amazing. 6'5", 325 pounds, defensive lineman, just a plug right in the middle. So, yeah, that's kind of what I expect. But I think if I'm Carolina, I'm just like, man, if one of those top quarterbacks fall, it's going to be kind of hard to not pick those guys.
I think it's easy to turn around and give it to McCaffrey, but I think it's even harder I think they should go with Simmons, Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, because they need to fill that void with Luke Kuechly.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Recon Athlete, episode number 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero on the line. Dallas Cowboys. Can we talk about them a little bit?
Oh, Dallas Cowboys.
Zach, do you want to talk about the Cowboys?
I love talking about the Cowboys every time.
Zach, do the Packers not have a first round pick?
I'll tell you right now. Y'all talk about the Cowboys, and I'll look it up.
Yes, they pick at 30.
I was about to say, I was like, golly, I'm scrolling down here. There they are, all the way down at 30. All right, the Dallas Cowboys are picking at number 17. I guess if one of the top 3 wide receivers are there, it's between one of those guys, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb. I fully expect them to go before 17. Paul, would you agree with that?
No, if the target they want is not there, if it's not a quarterback or one of the early graded receivers, I think they trade back, and that's something Jerry Jones is known for. Unless there's a big one of those big guards or big tackles is available, so it's going to be a lineman, a receiver in this order: receiver, the receiver, or a big lineman, or a big name guy, a war daddy, as Jerry Jones likes to call him. They trade back, man. There's just not what they need there. And I think with Dak Prescott's contract in limbo, I think Jerry Jones and them have moved on. I think they're saying, we're going to prepare like Dak Prescott's not going to be here. We hope he does get something signed, but I wouldn't be shocked if they drafted a quarterback. And who knows, if Jordan Love falls, why not pull the trigger at 17?
So no love for Caleb Von Chason, the rush in from LSU, if he's there?
What? It's a war daddy. I mean, he could, but I'm just saying, if he's not there, it's something to think about.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, what the Cowboys were hoping that they would get from Roger Goodell is, some news about Randy Gregory, Alden Smith, if they're going to be able to play this year, and they're not going to get that, obviously. So it's almost like, do you spend your first round draft pick on basically a security blanket, because you need an edge rusher. That is a big it is a big need for them. There's some people out there, some scouts that would consider Caleb Von Chason might rate him above Chase Young. Now there's not going to be a whole lot of those, but just the edge that he's able to set, as as an edge rusher, he's if you ask Sam Ehlinger how good Caleb Von Chason is, I think Sam would let you know, not only from his days at LSU, but his days with North Shore as well. So I tell you what, at 17, Caleb Von Chason, I would be very excited about. One of the top 3 receivers I'd be excited about too. If those guys aren't there, they do need a cornerback. I don't expect C.J. Henderson out of Florida to be there still, because he's just that's what they need. But I just don't think he's going to be there. If Xavier McKinney's there, the safety at Alabama, Caleb Von Chason's gone. The other 3 guys are gone. C.J. Henderson's gone. Do you think that they would go with McKinney at 17, or trade back, because you can trade back, and here's another thing.
How far back?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe at the end of round 1, because here's the thing. Here's another need that the Cowboys have is center, right? Have we talked about that?
Man.
Does anybody talk about that? I mean,
I talked about offensive line.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's just like Travis Frederick is gone. Like, they need a center.
That's why I brought up the offensive line or guard, is because if they do that, I think they can slide down Williams, the guard who also played center at the University of Texas. I think he could fill that role. He is undersized. He doesn't get pushed back a lot, but I think he has the mental capacity to play center. And if you can bring in a high-graded guard or tackle and have them be able to plug in that gap at guard, I think it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can trade back, and you're okay with where you're at as far as your edge rushers go and your backfield goes, or your defensive backfield goes, you could trade back and you could possibly go with the center. The top center, I believe, is hold on, I got it right here. Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. You know, he's a late round 1, early round 2 kind of guy. So, I mean, you could be smart. I mean, to me, that's maybe not, you know, a sexy pick per se, but I think it would be a smart pick to go with the top center in the draft at this point. I mean, I'm not going to make a splash. Fans are going to be upset about it, but I think it would be a smart pick on Jerry Jones's part to get a guy like Cesar Ruiz and you know, like you said, maybe pick up a couple other draft picks, trade back, and, you know, see what you can get later on in the draft. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely plausible, but I was kind of saying, like, McKinney might be there, man, and that's why I asked you, like, how far back, because if they go back probably from 17 to, like, 23 or 24, I think McKinney could be there. But if you want to trade out of the first round and pick up Ruiz, like, let's say he slips past the picks at 30, 31, I think they definitely could be there if they're picking maybe in the top 40 for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. You never know. Jerry Jones, you never know what's going to happen. You know, he might end up picking some player that, you know, went to the same high school as, you know, his favorite nephew or something. I don't know. Jerry's crazy. So you never know what's going to happen. You know, I would as a Cowboys fan be very excited about getting Caleb on Chason or Xavier McKinney or one of the top 3 receivers, or, you know, I'd be okay. You know, I just think right now I'd be okay with them going back and getting a center. I'm not expecting anything big out of this. I mean, I'm
That's
hoping.
how you sell a lot of jerseys.
What? With Ruiz?
You get a Ruiz Cowboys jersey. There's already a bunch of those in circulation, custom-made ones. But
yeah, you get a Ruiz Cowboy jersey. Heck yeah, man! They might end up being the number 1 New Jersey seller. New
on
Dallas
the market,
Cowboys
man,
jerseys.
on the market.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of them in Mexico.
They had to buy one for Paul.
Yeah, dude.
That's a pass, gentlemen. As a man, I will never put another man's name on my back in a jersey.
I'd have to agree. All right, Zach, did you do your research for your Green Bay Packers? They're picking at number 30. Where do you think your Green Bay Packers are going? You think they're going wide receiver?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's going to be a name there, a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I think just depending on who that is, I think the Packers really should consider taking them, whether that, I don't know if I pull a trigger on T. Higgins. I think Laviska Shenault, I think, would be a good pick. You have a kind of a do-it-all guy like Randall Cobb used to be. I'm a big fan of, like, the real big body receivers. So if there's any of those taller guys there. But I think another thing the Packers should consider is if there's a guy like Jordan Love still on the board.
Oh, really?
I think it's about time to have a guy underneath Aaron Rodgers, a guy that has first-round talent, not a Brent Hundley or anything like that.
Okay.
I think a legit first-round caliber quarterback to sit under Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers has multiple years left in him, then it's you take a page out of the Patriots playbook and you trade them for assets. You groom them and trade them. And if not, I think hopefully you have the next guy up. But what will end up happening is the Packers will just take another defensive back and they'll just continue to just amass all this talent in the defensive backfield there.
You know what, and I wasn't even considering that, Zach. I wasn't even considering the fact that they could possibly pick a quarterback that slips, because a big name could slip, and being a quarterback or a wide receiver. And then they could just do the whole Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers saga all over again, with Aaron Rodgers being in the Brett Favre seat, and then whoever they bring in bringing in the Aaron Rodgers seat. And then
right.
Let's see if Aaron Rodgers is as bitter about the Packers making a first round pick for a quarterback as Brett Favre was. I think that would be cool. I mean, as a non-Packers fan, I think I would like to see drama like that. I think it would be fun. Paul, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Do you think about Packers going quarterback in the first round?
Hell yes. Aaron Rodgers would be sour like a mother, bro. Isn't that Joker right there?
Yeah.
He would be so angsty. It would be hilarious. And he's already got that angsty face going on.
Yeah.
So you definitely know, it'd be like karma's a mother, ain't it, Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
All I got to say.
Yep. I mean, you know.
But I just think out of all of the, like, goatish quarterbacks in the league, I said that word a lot today. Like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben. Aaron Rodgers is the one that has talked about being done more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about, I can already see, like, the 18th hole. Like, he's said all these things about him maybe being close to being done, more than the guys that are older than him have even talked about. So maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he would be ready to kind of take on that mentoring kind of role, because he kind of learned his lesson from going through it the hard way with Brett.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You know why? You want to know why he sees the 18th hole? Because it's cold as hell in Green Bay.
That's true.
If he was playing in a warm weather or a dome team, he would play till 43 like Tom Brady, hypothetically. That dude
never talked about being done.
That's because Big Ben is a cheeseburger. That's why.
Yeah.
Big Ben cheeseburger. Aaron Rodgers is from Southern California. Not Southern California, but California. I mean, he ain't talking about living and playing in cold weather in his 40s. That's nonsense. I say, if he wins another Super Bowl, he'll probably retire, because everybody kind of has the feeling that the mindset is, if you got 2 Super Bowl rings, instant first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think that's what he's looking for, is another ring. And if he gets it, he's Audi 5000. But if not, he's going to try to make a play for a warm weather team and try to get one on the back end like John Elway and Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would like a Green Bay Packers quarterback pick there. I think it'd be interesting. Right now, I mean, I'm looking at latest mock draft for CBS Sports, and they've got Green Bay picking Denzel Mims, a wide receiver out of Baylor.
Ooh, nice.
What do you think? What do you think about that, Zach? If they got Mims,
I just don't know if that's the name that I want there. Like,
okay.
I don't know if that's, like, I feel like because you already have wide receiver talent,
mm-hmm.
you're filling in a very specific hole.
Okay.
At that, they do have need at the wide receiver, but it's almost more of like a want than a need. Like, they need it, but like they want the specific thing to fill that.
Okay.
And I think they have the route runner. Hopefully with Equinemius St. Brown coming back, they have the size. They just need that, like, shifty underneath kind of guy. I think Jalen Rager, I think, would be really good. Chenault, I think, would be really good. I don't know. I don't know if Mims is the guy. I don't know. Maybe I've rooted against him too much, being a Longhorn fan.
Fair enough. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucetto. All right, we're kind of, well, Zach and I are kind of lukewarm about the draft tomorrow, just as far as the production goes. Paul's pretty excited. I mean, we're all kind of don't know what to expect. We'll see what ESPN does. I know at least it's something to watch, other than old football or baseball games like they've been showing, or basketball games like they've been showing on ESPN lately. Speaking of old football games, Paul Rodriguez, you've joined the Sarge and Emilio Juarez on the Lions Pride Sports broadcast, talking about the 2001 Lockhart Lions game. I didn't get to see it, man. I forgot it was,
That's okay.
But is it somewhere where I can go watch it, or we can go watch it?
Yeah, you can go to Lions Sports Broadcast on Facebook. It's there. It's archived for anybody to watch, just like how our Facebook Live posts are available. So just go down there. And yeah, I sat down with Emilio Sarge Juarez and Coach Amada Galvez to walk down memory lane from the 2001 Lions versus Del Valley Cardinals football game at Lions Stadium.
Ah, man. Was that fun?
It was so damn fun, Chris. It's like, Coach Roberto Galvez was bringing out programs. He brought out, like, the first program he brought out was Lockhart versus Smithville, homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had a little bit of a story for that. That game, it was early in the season. I think it was like the third week. And everybody has to remember, this is like 3 weeks after 9/11 or a week after 9/11.
Yeah.
And we're playing football, and we made the decision after that, tragedy to play football because we thought it was in the best interest of, the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And playing in that game, we intercepted a ball, and I turned upfield, and Smithville sucked. And so as soon as I had an offensive lineman like cross my face, I jacked that joker up and drove him in the ground and did a front roll. Well, all of my weight on that front roll went onto my left hand, and I ended up having a spiral fracture in my third and fourth metacarpal, which I didn't know at game time. And this is the first half.
Yeah.
So, I instantly ran to the sideline, and I was like, tape my hand because I didn't know what was going on. I just thought it was sprained, and, you're all hopped up on adrenaline. Well, anyways, finished the game, had halftime, go in. Coach says, you're done, save me for district. The first game back after the injury, after the club, I played one game with the club. This was the first game against Del Valle where, I had on some special equipment, padded gloves, and I learned something about myself that night, Chris. I learned that I talked a F-ton of shit to everybody I played on Friday night in Lockhart, America. I learned that about myself because I'm pointing at people. I'm making hand gestures to people. I'm, letting people know after the whistle. I'm in people's ears. And for y'all youngsters who don't know, John Randall, a guy y'all would know, Warren Sapp, I emulated my game after old Sapp there. And I didn't have the talent, but I sure had the mouth. I learned that about myself.
All right, so we're going to check that out. Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, 2001, Lockhart Lions versus Del Valle Cardinals. You can go check out Paul Rodriguez, telling people what's up and showing them what's up with his football game. Zach Lucetto, do you have any old baseball games that we can watch?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, baseball's not really a game that you like. Do
you video?
You don't really like. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I don't have any old games. I don't know if I would have any old. I think I do think somewhere I'm gonna have to ask my I'll have to ask my parents. I think somewhere there's a VHS tape of me on a highlight video of like Friday Football Fever or something like that. Returning a fumble for a touchdown. I think that's the only video that I have of me playing football back in, I think it was like 96 or 97. It's wasn't a time where everybody was videoing. So, but shout out to Coach Galvez and the Sarge, for doing this. They've been showing a lot of old Lockhart games and also Luling Eagles. Shout out to Luling. That's where my dad's from. My dad's from Luling. My mom's from Lockhart. They were, star-crossed, lovers, I guess. They were from different sides, different towns, and the rivalry and all that. Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. But yeah, Lockhart Lions, Luling Eagles. There's some old games that you can check out on Lions Pride and also Luling Eagles sports broadcast. All right, let's wrap things up. I think we went. We didn't go 3 hours like Snoop wanted us to do, but we went hour and a half. We tried. Is there? I mean, I don't know. We don't have a time limit. Is there anything else I want to bring up? Anything you watching right now, Zach, on Hulu or Netflix?
Actually, I do want to say I have a sleeper for y'all in the draft.
Sleeper. Okay. What is it?
And this will be the last thing I say. Robert Hayes Jr., cornerback out of SMU. His pro day, he ran the first ranked cone drill. His time was the first for corners and safeties. He ran a 4.46 40, which is 14th among DBs and safeties. He's got great size. He's like a super good athlete. He loves the game. He's real smart, and he started out at Incarnate Word, where he was a resident in my dorm when I was an RA.
Okay.
He then transferred to SMU and finished playing there. He had a really good season last year and declared for the draft after his senior year. So shout out to Rob, and I hope he gets picked this weekend.
Word up.
This message was brought to you by the Lucero Sports Consulting Agency, representing the athlete out of SMU.
All right. Sarge said on our broadcast here, or on our comments, he said this Friday night, 1996, Lockhart versus Luling at 7 p.m. So check that out. So that's cool.
Shout out to my cousin Jeremy Rodriguez. He played in that game.
Oh yeah, he would have played in that game, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You got Rodriguez's in your family?
He is a
brother.
Rodriguez.
I am a Rodriguez.
Oh really?
P Rod.
Say his name all the time. Zach. That's how much Zach doesn't pay attention to us. He doesn't know our last names.
It's because he's busy representing NFL talent. That's why.
I know. That's true.
I got Rodriguez in my family too.
Are y'all related?
Yeah. Oye, ¿qué onda, primo?
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
So.
Are y'all could be related? Yeah. Oh,
I don't got any fans
man, I gotta check out. I gotta check it out because my cousin Ezekiel played. I think he played quarterback back in the day. I think it was like 90, maybe 91, 92, 93. Zeke Sanchez. I'll have to ask Sarge.
Yeah,
to go back and look. I have to go back and because I think they showed a couple of those games back in the day. So we'll check it out.
Well, they showed the 93 game against Hayes Monday night after my game.
Oh, okay.
Did he play then? Did he play 93?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I don't know, man. He's a man of God now. He got a great family. His great wife, great kids. But for a little while there, he was kind of gangsta. So I don't know if he was still playing. He was still playing football. I think he did. Yeah. Oh yeah. So he said the Sarge says we played his game after the 2001 game this Monday. Were you?
That's what
were you there?
I have
to go back and check it out. I have to go catch it.
I didn't stick around for the second game, but shout out to Emilio the Sarge Juarez and Coach Galvez.
Man,
those guys
doing a great job.
Are very hospitable, and very inviting. And it was an honor to be there, and it was just so damn fun.
Yeah.
That's just one thing I'll say. It was so fun.
Yeah, dude, and they're doing a great job with Lockhart and Luling stuff there. Okay. Oh, he did. Yeah, he said. My cousin Zeke Sanchez played quarterback for the '93 Lions. I'm about to go check it out. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 71. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Luceto. Shout out to Snoop Daniel over in the green room. Shout out Zach Luceto.
Shout out Rob Hayes. Shout out Snoop. Shout out Incarnate Word.
Yeah, Incarnate Word. What up? Word up. All right, shout out to Paul Rodriguez.
Before the shout outs, Incarnate Word making moves in recruiting. So I just want to give them a big plug. Zach, they're going to be big. If you have or do not have season tickets, go upgrade. And I'm going to shout out Chris, Zach, Snoop, the Sarge, Papa Romeo, and Coach Amado Galvez.
Yeah.
What's up?
No, go ahead.
And I'm just shouting out the people, man. I'm shouting out the fans. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm out.
All right, Snoop, you got any shout outs or? No. Snoop, come give us a shout out, man. You haven't made a cameo all night.
Oh no. I posted on Insta like.
Oh, he's posting a lot.
Yeah.
So
trying to start.
Hell yeah, he is.
Shout out the bottom now. Now we.
Who you shouting out though?
I'm shouting out to Recon Athlete and Zendaya and Craig Way. Jeff Howe. And, I think that's it. Tito's.
Okay.
My dealer.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
It's blackjack dealer.
My blackjack dealer.
Blackjack dealer on online gambling. I want to say, shout out to God. Shout out to my parents. Also, I just want to say, rest in peace. Justin Putnam, officer for San Marcos Police Department, that was lost his life last Saturday. He was a former Westwood Warrior, class of 2006, all-state kicker, and all Syntex as well. And putting his life out there on the line. Unfortunately, it was lost last Saturday night. So rest in peace and condolences to his family. Also, want to shout out to everybody that joined us here on the watch party. Shout out to, like I said, shout out to everybody that's been, here for 71 episodes now. And we're going to keep rolling. 72 coming up on Saturday.
Shout out all the ladies working out in quarantine.
Yeah. I started running last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to be skinny.
He's already dropped 3 waist sizes on his pants.
Yeah. My shorts don't fit anymore. All right.
What are you at now? Like 39? Wait.
Yeah, I was waiting for Zach. I was like, man, I was like, no, Zach's going to say something. No, he's going to say something.
Chris,
what?
So Chris, now you just in the medium. You're not in the schmedium.
Yeah, I'm not a schmedium anymore. Yeah.
Word.
Oh man, I had to get some. Actually, I had to get some 34s. Zach, I know you're. What size are you? 28.
30.
30. Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had to get some 34s. My 36s are too big. So we'll see. I had to order them online though. They're not gonna be here for like 2 weeks. Because you know how things are with the deliveries right now with the Rona. All right, Paul. Shout out. Let's do your thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And everybody